"Leave now," the receptionist hissed, then leaned closer with a smile. "Before the balloons arrive and ruin the surprise for the little girl peeking from under the desk. Before we start, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? We love seeing how far our stories travel." The lobby of Hale and Wilder felt like a quiet aquarium at dusk. Glass, soft blue light, the hum of hidden vents. When Daniel Cole, 35, male, a janitor and part-time house cleaner, rolled his cart across the marble. Cleaning solution tapped gently in its bottle, like a metronome for his thoughts. He'd taken the evening shift because his son, Max, 6, male, was at a neighbor's movie night, and extra hours meant new sneakers before school started. By the elevator, Charlotte Hale, 38, female, the company's CEO, stood with her phone screen aglow beneath her composed face. People here talked about Charlotte like weather. Unavoidable, sometimes dazzling, always changing other people's plans. Tonight, though, the light on her cheekbones looked more like exhaustion than power. "Mr. Cole?" she called, eyes lifting from the screen. He paused. "Yes, ma'am." Charlotte's voice thinned, careful, as if it had to walk across a narrow bridge. "I need a personal favor. A strange one." He half smiled. "Stranger than the gum sculpture in the conference room?" That earned her the first real laugh of the evening. Quick, surprised, almost relieved. She glanced toward the reception desk where Ava, 7, female, small and bright-eyed, crouched between the counter and a bouquet of helium stars. A paper crown tilted over her ponytail. She traced circles on the marble with the toe of her shoe, whisper counting breathless. 19, 20, 21. "Tomorrow's her birthday," Charlotte said. "Ava, she wants a whole family photo. Balloons, cake, the works." The CEO's voice didn't break. It softened, like a coat being folded instead of dropped. "Her father won't be there. He left in spring." Silence held for a beat, the kind that respects privacy without pretending not to see pain. Charlotte inhaled. "I have 2 weeks until a very public merger closes and 2 weeks until Ava's school play, which she refuses to do unless her whole family attends. She thinks that means 2 parents. Daniel, can you pretend to be my husband for 2 weeks? Just in the safe places. Birthday, school, home. Nothing performative, nothing unkind. Just stability. For her." The words landed gently, but heavily. He glanced toward the cleaning cart out of habit, as if the right tool existed for this. He thought of Max asleep on a pillow shaped like a rocket. Their tiny apartment's chipped windowsill where Basil tried its best. Pretend husband? Ridiculous. Tender. Impossible. Possible. "What about appearances?" he asked quietly. "You're you." "I am," Charlotte said with a small, wry curve of the mouth. "And I have a daughter who believes paper crowns work best when worn by 2 grown-ups for at least 1 song." She checked herself, lowering her tone. "You're safe in this. There's a stipend, of course, a contract with boundaries measured in paragraph marks. But mostly I'm asking because I've watched you for months. How you talk to the night staff, how you never rush the older bookkeeper on 11, how you pick up dropped receipts like they were names. Ava needs someone gentle who doesn't make promises they can't keep." The elevator pinged. Somewhere above, an air conditioner sighed awake. Ava popped up like a meerkat, spotted her mother, then spotted Daniel. She lifted a hand in a shy wave and sat back down, crown slipping to one ear. He cleared his throat. "Max and I do birthdays with pancake stacks. It's a rule." "Then we'll need syrup," Charlotte said. He studied her, The hard edges weren't cruelty. They were scaffolding. Up close, the designer suit looked like armor someone forgot to take off before bedtime. 2 weeks is a long pretend, he said softly. I know. A breath held. But it's not a lie if the heart of it is true. What's the heart? He asked. She looked toward the desk. A child who feels safe enough to sing. There it was. The hinge the whole night turned on. Daniel glanced again at Ava, then back to Charlotte. He didn't notice his own nod until she exhaled, as if the building had secretly been sitting on her ribs. Ground rules, he said, businesslike to keep from confessing how his chest felt too full. No overnights except the birthday slumber party if needed. Max is always with me or at school. No hugging unless Ava wants it. And the first time the act feels wrong, we stop and we tell her why kindly. Charlotte nodded. Agreed. And we do this quietly. No posts, no cameras, no boardroom gossip. We'll call you Dan Hale for school pickup and Daniel everywhere else. My home is 5 blocks away. I can drive you, or we can walk and buy syrup. Ava peeked around the counter again, then startled when the bouquet bobbed. Daniel crouched to her level, leaving the cart behind. Happy early birthday, he said, a fraction too formal, which made her grin. Are you a magic cleaner? Ava asked, voice small but bright. Mummy says people who make things shine make rooms breathe better. I'm a good helper, he answered. And I know how to fix balloons when they squeak. They squeak because they're excited, Ava whispered. Are you coming to my party? He glanced at Charlotte. She didn't speak. She let Ava's question hover, gentle and immense. If your mum says it's okay, he replied. And if we can have pancake stacks. Ava gasped as if offered treasure. With strawberries? With strawberries, Charlotte echoed, eyes crinkling at the corners. They walked together to the curb. Charlotte in careful heels, Daniel steady with the cart until security waved him on. Ava holding his sleeve like a fisherman's knot. Outside, the evening held a warm, city-bred smell from the bakery next door. Streetlights clicked to life without showing off. Charlotte unlocked a charcoal sedan. During the short drive, Ava whispered plans from the back seat, as if narration might build the party by sound alone. Blue plates, not pink. Daddy, the pretend one, has to wear a crown, too. Mummy said rules can be nice if you choose them together. Daniel felt the word daddy catch in the car like a scarf in a breeze. Charlotte kept her gaze on the road, but reached back a hand, palm up, until Ava's fingers rested there. No words, just the soft choreography of trust. At the Hale townhouse, a bright brick place with window boxes stubbornly full of herbs, a neighbor, Mrs. Porter, 67 female, waved from her stoop. Evening, Charlotte. And who's this polite young man? Daniel, Charlotte said evenly. A friend who's helping us to celebrate. Inside, the foyer smelled faintly of orange peels and clean linen. A hand-drawn banner leaned against the wall. Ava is 8. The 7 had been changed with decisive crayon. A stack of unopened party plates, blue as requested, waited on a console. Show him your cake sketch, Charlotte said. Ava raced to the kitchen and returned with a crumpled paper. A lopsided circle with a pancake stack drawn on top. Strawberries floating like balloons. It's not art, she announced. It's feelings. Daniel studied it with careful attention. The kind adults sometimes forget to give small masterpieces. Then it's perfect. Charlotte watched him watching her daughter, and some thread in her posture loosened. They practiced smile timers for the whole family photo on Charlotte's phone. They negotiated crown heights, High for laughs, Ava decreed, low for eating. They reviewed boundaries like smart travelers. Where to stand at school drop-off, how to greet Miss Beale, 42, female, the classroom teacher who loved glitter but banned it. When it was nearly time for Daniel to go and rescue his basil plant from the apartment oven's heat, Charlotte checked the calendar pinned with silver magnets on the fridge. Birthday, tomorrow. School play, 2 weeks. A tiny hand-drawn star sat beside the play date in purple marker, the kind of star children draw when they're imagining applause. Dan, Charlotte said, voice even but bright with nerves. Tomorrow at 3, you'll meet us at Honeycomb Bakery. We'll do candles there. Crowded enough to make the wish feel big, quiet enough that she won't scare. He nodded, lifting the party plates to a higher shelf where they wouldn't warp. The small domestic movement settled something in the kitchen's air, like the first click of a seatbelt on a long drive. From the doorway, Ava's whisper drifted in. Mummy, will he still come if people look? Charlotte crouched to her. He'll come even if no one looks, she promised softly. That's how you know it's real. Ava stepped forward, brave as a sparrow. She held out the paper crown with both hands. For practice, she told Daniel, so you don't forget how to be in a family picture. He took it, crown trembling a little in his palm, and in that tremble lived the whole next 2 weeks. The laugh-awkward breakfasts, the school gate nods, the delicate choreography of kindness performed in public but rooted in private truth. The front bell rang, a courier with a narrow box stamped with the bakery's B logo. Charlotte signed. Ava bounced on her toes. Daniel rested the crown carefully on the counter so it wouldn't crease. Charlotte lifted the lid. Inside lay a single sugar glass candle the color of sunrise. Tomorrow, she said, looking up at Daniel, we light this together. And from the hall, as if the house itself were holding its breath, the intercom buzzed again, followed by a clipped, familiar voice from the speaker. Ms. Hale, it's Mr. Rowe, 39, male, from the board. Quick question about your family photo tomorrow. We may have company. Charlotte's eyes flicked to Daniel, then to Ava's crown, then back to the speaker. The candle caught a shine from the kitchen light, a small sunrise waiting for permission. The next afternoon, the bakery felt like the inside of a warm hug. Honeycomb Bakery's big front windows caught the soft daylight, turning dust motes into lazy confetti. The place smelled of vanilla, butter, and the faint citrus note of lemon bars cooling on a rack. Balloons that matched Ava's paper crown bobbed above a long corner table reserved with a simple sign, Hale Family. Daniel, 35, male, arrived early, wearing the only collared shirt he owned that didn't smell like cleaning solution. His son, Max, 6, male, walked beside him, small hand in his, sneakers squeaking with each step. Do we have to call her Mom? Max asked, eyes wide as he stared at the fancy logo on the window. No, Daniel said gently. She's Ms. Hale, and Ava's your friend. Today we're just helping her have a good day. That's our mission. Like superheroes? Max whispered. Exactly like superheroes, Daniel replied. Just without capes, or flying, or breaking anything. Inside, Charlotte, 38, female, was already there, in a simple navy dress that made her look less like a CEO and more like a very determined older sister. She was adjusting a row of plates when she saw them. Her eyes softened. You must be Max, she said, kneeling to the boy's level. Your dad tells me you're the expert on pancake birthdays. Max perked up. Do you have syrup? Charlotte smiled. 2 kinds. Ava, 7, female, popped out from behind a chair, crown slightly straighter today, cheeks flushed with excitement. She stopped short when she saw Max, then Daniel, then the bakery's staff bustling behind the counter. "You came," she breathed. "Couldn't miss the pancakes," Daniel said, "or the crown rules." She studied him, then nodded solemnly. "You're sitting next to me. That's law." Before anyone could argue, the door chimed again. Mr. Rowe, 39, male, from the board, stepped in with 2 other executives in tow. Ms. Patel, 41, female, the CFO, and Mr. Green, 52, male, senior counsel. All 3 looked slightly overdressed for a child's party, their expressions stuck somewhere between polite curiosity and corporate concern. "Charlotte," Rose said, striding over. "Didn't mean to intrude on this. Just thought we'd swing by with a merger gift." He held up a small, tastefully wrapped box. His gaze flicked to Daniel, then to Max. "And meet your family." Charlotte's spine straightened almost by reflex. Then, catching herself, she glanced at Ava, whose hand had already found Daniel's sleeve. "This is Daniel Cole," she said calmly, "and his son, Max. They're very important to us." The word "us" seemed to hang in the air. Rose's brows nudged upward. "Cole," he repeated. It took him a moment. "From night maintenance?" Daniel felt the space tighten. He stood a little taller, not defiant, just steady. "Yes, sir." For a fleeting second, the old script threatened to appear, the one where important people pretended not to notice, or noticed in a way that made the room smaller. But then Ava spoke, clear as a bell. "This is my pretend dad for now," she announced. "He's helping my heart feel less wobbly." The bakery went quiet. Someone dropped a spoon. It clinked against the tile. Rowe looked from Ava's earnest face to Charlotte's careful one. Ms. Patel's expression softened first. "Well," she said, setting the gift on the table. "That sounds like a very wise arrangement." Mr. Green nodded slowly. "Stability before a merger," he murmured, half to himself. "Makes sense financially and humanly." Rowe exhaled, some hidden tension loosening. "Mr. Cole," he said, reaching out his hand. "Good to meet you properly." Daniel shook it, surprised by the genuine grip. "Likewise." They stayed only a few minutes, long enough to see Ava laugh when Max tried to blow up a balloon and nearly inhaled it instead, long enough to watch Charlotte lean down and whisper something that made both kids grin, long enough to accept that whatever this looked like, it worked. "Happy birthday, Miss Hale," Ms. Patel said to Ava at the door. "You've chosen very good people for your team." After the executives left, the bakery seemed to breathe easier. The party unfolded in small, perfect pieces. The chef carried out a pancake stack cake shaped exactly like Ava's drawing, layers of golden pancakes with strawberries piled on top, a single sugar glass candle glowing at the center. The whole bakery joined the song when someone started, "Happy Birthday," voices overlapping, off-key in the best way. Charlotte and Daniel stood behind Ava, each resting a hand lightly on her shoulders. "Make a wish," Daniel said. She closed her eyes. For a moment, the entire room fell into a hush so deep it felt like a held breath. When she opened them again, they were shining. "What did you wish for?" Max whispered. "I can't tell you," Ava replied, grinning. "But it sounds like pancakes and feels like people not leaving." Later, while the kids worked on decorating their own mini pancakes with far too many sprinkles, Charlotte moved closer to Daniel near the coffee station. "You handled that well," she said quietly. "The board thing, I'm sorry you had to navigate their curiosity." "I've navigated worse," he replied with a faint smile. At least no one asked what my hourly rate was in front of the kids. Her mouth twisted. They won't, she said. Not again. He studied her. This is more than just a birthday patch, isn't it? Charlotte looked over at Ava, who was now carefully placing a strawberry on Max's plate, narrating the process like a cooking show host. I built a company, she said softly. But somewhere along the way, I forgot how to build this. After her father left, I kept thinking if I just hit one more quarterly target, the hole would close. It didn't. It got louder. She stopped singing in the shower. She started asking if she'd done something wrong. Her voice thinned, but didn't crack. So when she asked for a whole family for her birthday and the school play, I realized I needed help. Not a headline, a person. 2 weeks, Daniel reminded gently. 2 weeks, she echoed. Then we tell her the truth, that families can look like different things, that sometimes the kindest people aren't the ones with shared last names, but shared effort. She smiled, a little helplessly. Is that naive? He shook his head. It's honest. Kids handle honest better than empty gloss. So do adults. The 2 weeks moved like a steady, careful montage. There were school drop-offs where Daniel stood beside Charlotte at the gate, and Ava waved at them both before racing onto the playground. There were evenings when Max and Ava built blanket forts in Charlotte's living room, while Daniel repaired a wobbly shelf and Charlotte took her laptop to the kitchen table, but closed it when someone yelled, "Movie time!" Max warmed slowly to Charlotte, surprised when she remembered his favorite cartoon theme song and hummed it absent-mindedly while rinsing dishes. Ava clung to the new routine with both hands, her good-night hugs growing less tentative every day. At work, rumors swirled, but quietly. People saw the CEO walking in with the night janitor at school time hours and, instead of smirking, watched how she greeted the staff afterward. She said, "Thank you," more. She listened longer. When a receptionist's father fell ill, Charlotte sent a card with her personal number inside. "Call me if you need schedule changes," she wrote. "Family first." On the night of the school play, the auditorium buzzed with the mixed smell of crayons, hair gel, and freshly printed programs. Parents folded themselves into narrow fold-out chairs. Paper stars hung from the ceiling on fishing line, twirling in the stage lights. Daniel sat in the front row between Max and Charlotte. Ava, dressed as a galaxy guide in a silver sash, peeked out from behind the curtain and waved both hands at them. They waved back like airport flags. Miss Beale, 42, female, stepped up to the microphone. "Welcome, families," she said. "Tonight's show is about finding your place in the universe, sometimes where you least expect it." That line landed differently for the adults in the room. During her scene, Ava had one solo line that everyone knew she dreaded. She was supposed to step forward and say, "I'm not scared. I have my team." At rehearsal, she had whispered it, eyes down, barely audible. Tonight, under the hum of the lights and the watchful gaze of 2 kids and 2 grown-ups in the front row, she took a deep breath, stepped out, lifted her chin, and said it loud and clear. "I'm not scared," she declared. "I have my team." Later, backstage, she ran into Charlotte's arms, then into Daniel's, hugging them both so tightly that their shoulders bumped. "You were amazing," Charlotte murmured. "You were brave," Daniel added. Ava pulled back, eyes shiny. "That's because I had you," she said. Then quieter, "Even if it's just for now." Charlotte's breath caught. She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked at Daniel, asking silently if it was time. He nodded, gentle but certain. "Maybe we should talk," he said. They sat together on a bench in the empty hallway, paper stars casting tiny shadows on the linoleum. Max fidgeted with his program nearby, giving them half privacy. "Ava," Charlotte began, choosing each word like a fragile ornament. "There's something important you need to know about our arrangement." The little girl's fingers tightened around the edge of her sash. "Are you going to say it's over?" she asked, voice shaking. Daniel shook his head immediately. "No," he said softly. "We're going to say it's real, just different than the label we used." She blinked, confused. "Different how?" Charlotte glanced at Daniel and smiled, small but sure. "We don't have to pretend anymore," she said. "He's not your fake dad. He's Daniel, who cares about you and Max, and about us, because he chooses to. And I'm your mom, who finally realized that asking for help is something strong people do, not weak ones." Ava studied their faces, searching for cracks. "So, are you leaving?" she asked Daniel. "No," he answered. "Not unless you want me to. But instead of calling me pretend dad, maybe you call me what feels right to you. Friend, team, Daniel. We can figure it out together." Silence held for a moment, gentle and deep. Ava leaned her head onto his shoulder. "You're my safe person," she decided. "Is that allowed?" "It's very allowed," Charlotte said, tears bright but unfallen. "For both of us." Max scooted closer, unconsciously completing the circle. "Can safe people still do pancake birthdays?" he asked. "Always," Daniel said. Weeks later, after the merger went through and the school year rolled on, a quietly remarkable email went out to the entire staff of Hale and Wilder. It announced a new position: Director of Campus Care and Community, a role bridging facilities, staff support, and employee families. Beneath the title, one name appeared in simple font: Daniel Cole. The description mentioned a proven record of compassion, reliability, and making rooms breathe better. When Daniel read it at his tiny kitchen table, Max leaned over his shoulder. "Does that mean we get to see them more?" he asked. "It means we're part of a bigger team now," Daniel replied, heart full. "If we want to be." At the end-of-year picnic, on a sunny lawn behind the office building, someone snapped a candid photo without staging it. Two kids laughing under a tree. A woman in a simple summer dress pouring lemonade. A man in rolled-up sleeves adjusting a crooked paper crown on a little girl's head. No one labeled it whole family. No one had to. The picture, framed later in Charlotte's office and in Daniel's apartment, lived under a different, quiet caption in their minds. Not perfect, just real, just chosen, just enough.